And his wife looks at him. She goes, "Honey, are you okay?" And he just kind of looks up, and he has these sunken in, like blackened, almost like he hadn't slept in years, kind of eyes. And he lets out this moan that just is like, it's like a almost like a death moan, almost like the death rattle, really loud, and then just collapses on the bed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of As the Skeleton Key Turns. Of course, I am always your host, Gray, joined by the lovely Christina. And
Hello.
hello, today we have something diabolical, mesmerizing, and right down chilling. Remember, every object you get is not always the object that it seems to be. And sometimes those imaginary friends that your kids see or that you saw as a kid when they were playing with their toys, sometimes those might not be imaginary friends after all. You never know what's lurking around the corner. So, to start us out, I'm going to segue to Christina to kick us off on another amazing episode. So, take it away.
So, this episode is going to be about haunted objects and the things that may inhabit them. So, instead of the normal little bit of history of everything that we give, the stories, I wanted to just do a little ghost story time. So, that's what we're going to do. So, the first story begins in 1970 in Hartford, Connecticut. Donna was a young nursing student. She shared a small apartment with another nursing student named Angie. Like many college students, they worked long hours, studied late into the night, and lived on a tight budget. For Donna's birthday, her mother bought her a Raggedy Ann doll from a hobby store. It seemed like the perfect gift. Donna placed the doll on her bed as decoration, and no one thought twice about it until the doll began to move. At first, the changes were so small that they were easy to dismiss. Donna would leave the doll sitting upright on her bed. Hours later, she'd find it on the couch. Sometimes, its legs would be crossed. Other times, its arms would be folded differently. Eventually, the movements become impossible to ignore. The doll would be in a completely different room. The apartment doors had been locked. Neither woman could explain what was happening. Then another strange phenomenon appeared. Handwritten notes began showing up around the apartment. The notes read things like, "Help us," or "Help Lou." The paper itself made the mystery even stranger. Donna and Angie said they didn't own any parchment paper, yet every message appeared on aged parchment. Neither woman admitted writing them, and no one was supposedly in the apartment. Their friend Lou was deeply uncomfortable around the doll from the very beginning. He repeatedly warned Donna to throw it away. He claimed there was something wrong with it. Donna dismissed his concerns until Lou experienced something he said he will never forget. He later described waking from sleep completely unable to move. He watched the doll slowly climb onto his chest. As he struggled to breathe, the doll allegedly began choking him. And just as suddenly as it started, he awoke. He believed it had not been an ordinary nightmare. A short time later, Lou was alone in the apartment with Angie. They heard noises coming from Donna's bedroom. Thinking someone had broken in, Lou searched the room. No one was there, only the doll. As he approached the doll, he suddenly felt a burning pain across his chest. When he pulled up his shirt, there were long scratches running across his torso. Lou later claimed the wounds healed unusually fast. Terrified and searching for answers, Donna contacted a medium. And during a seance, the medium claimed to contact the spirit of a little girl named Annabelle Higgins. According to the medium, Annabelle had died when she was around 7 years old before the apartment complex had been built. The spirit supposedly said she was lonely. She liked Donna and Angie, and she wanted permission to remain with them. Feeling compassion for what they believed was a lost child, Donna agreed. Now, looking back, she would later say she wished she never had. Not long after giving that permission, the activity reportedly escalated. The doll continued to move, unexplained sounds echoed through the apartment, objects seemed to shift on their own. The woman no longer believed they were dealing with the ghost of a child. They believed something else was present. Eventually, they contacted a local Episcopal priest, Father Hegan. Recognizing the situation was beyond his experience, Father Hegan reached out to Father Joseph Cook, who in turn contacted paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. By 1970, the Warrens had already begun investigating reports of hauntings across the northeastern United States. Ed Warren described himself as a demonologist, while Lorraine said she was a clairvoyant and trance medium. The couple would later become involved in famous cases, including the Perron family haunting that inspired all the movies and connected also to the Amityville house. After investigating the apartment, the Warrens reached a very different conclusion than the medium. They claimed there was never a little girl named Annabelle inhabiting the doll. Instead, they believed an inhuman, demonic entity had pretended to be a child. According to the Warrens, demons cannot simply possess an object like a doll, which I do think they can. Instead, they claim the doll was being used to attract sympathy and build trust. The goal, they believed, was not the doll itself. The goal was eventually possessing one of the people living in the apartment. If that conclusion is true, then the request to let Annabelle stay was never innocent. It was permission. The Warrens arranged for the apartment to be blessed by a priest. Then they removed the doll. Ed Warren later claimed that during the drive home, their car repeatedly stalled and the brakes malfunctioned. According to his account, he sprinkled holy water on the doll and prayed before the problem stopped. Whether that happened exactly as described has never been independently verified, but it became one of the best-known parts of the Annabelle legend. The doll was eventually placed in the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, which shout out to the new occult museum being built in Salem. She was kept inside a wooden glass case, and a sign on the front famously warned visitors, "Warning, positively do not open." Over the decades, visitors claimed the doll moved, changed positions, or gave them an overwhelming feeling of dread. One frequently repeated story tells of a young man who mocked Annabelle during a museum visit. According to the Warrens, he challenged the doll to scratch him. After leaving the museum, he reportedly died in a motorcycle crash. Now, I wasn't able to verify that, but that story has never been independently confirmed, but it remains one of the most famous legends connected to Annabelle, something tragic that happened from contact with the doll. So the Warren Occult Museum eventually closed to the public because of zoning issues, but Annabelle remained in the care of the Warren family. In recent years, there was rumors that the doll escaped or disappeared. Now, we know that's not true. But she is definitely secure. So what really happened inside the apartments in 1970? And were Donna and Angie victims of an elaborate misunderstanding? I don't think so. And everybody does know that Annabelle is just a Raggedy Ann doll, right? Just a doll. So, Yeah, it's pretty scary. But that's the origin story of Annabelle.
Nothing more than a little Raggedy Ann doll that was invented in 1925 and
Yep.
has now came to this. Well, I know
Do
one
you
thing. I don't play with
remember?
dolls.
Do you remember my wedding? She was my flower girl,
She
Annabelle.
was your flower girl. Yes, you did have an. That is something. Okay, so the listeners, you all have to understand. Me and Christina are besties. We are absolute besties. I was at her wedding, beautiful wedding, by the way. Uh, and we had the pleasure of not the real Annabelle, but a Annabelle doll or
Yeah.
Raggedy Ann doll as the flower girl at the wedding. It was
Yep.
fabulous. It was amazing. I loved it. Um,
Little
but
twist.
yes, yeah, little tweak. But yeah, so yeah, don't mess with dolls. That actually correlates to okay. So that kind of marries into what I've got for us. So when you were a little kid, or whatever, or you knew a little kid when you were younger, there was always people who had like different toys and stuff like that, right? And yard sales would happen and all that junk. Well, back in 1995 in Seattle, Washington, there was a family who was shopping a yard sale, and they were shopping for their son. They were all out and about, they were just kind of looking around, looking at all the cool stuff, and their son found this plushy rubber like dinosaur toy. Now, what little boy doesn't love dinosaurs? It's
Right?
fact. So, boy picks it up, goes to his parents, runs and says, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I love this toy. I love this toy." And the mom's like, "Okay, fine, sweetie. How much is it?" They go up. They ask the person. It's $1. So boy pulls out this dollar out of his pocket and gives it to the person. He is now walking home with this toy. He is overjoyed with this little dinosaur toy that he's named Bobby. Now,
Bobby.
Bobby, the dinosaur, was this kid's best friend. Kid went everywhere with this thing, to school, to summer camp, to hang out with his friends. Like, this dinosaur was on Bobby's hip, literally attached to the hip with a little piece of rope that Bobby tied around its like waist and tucked under its arms, or his parents must have at least. Well, one night his parents say Bobby needs cleaned up. He's dirty. And the little boy says, "No, no, Bobby's fine. Bobby's fine." And his parents are like, "No, Bobby is really dirty. He needs washed." Now, of course, you as a child are thinking, they're going to ruin my favorite toy. They're not, but like, besides the point. So they take Bobby away, they put him in the sink, and they hand wash him. And as they're hand washing him, the mother starts to feel really nauseous, almost like she's pregnant again, but she's not. Um, she starts to like feel this like just sense of dread and nauseousness. And she kind of steps back from the sink and she's like, "Man, I'm really dizzy." And the husband gets up and he goes, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "No, I feel sick. Why do I feel sick all of a sudden? What did we eat today?" The husband's like, we had Thai food." And she's like, "It must have been the Thai food. Maybe it's a combination of something that I ate all that day." She sat down, rested for a little bit while the husband got up and he finished washing the toy. Nothing happened to him, right? He didn't feel any kind of illness, nothing like that. He dried it off, let it dry in the sink overnight. Well, the boy in the middle of the night gets up and goes to the sink and sees Bobby on the counter drying in this like rack thing. And now Bobby, of course, is tall enough to reach over the counters. And he reaches over the counters and grabs the dinosaur out of the rack. And he, holds it and hugs it and says, "I'm so sorry, Bobby. I'm so sorry. They washed you. You were perfect." Stuff like that. And the dad, of course, is awake and he's hearing his son say all this. So he gets up out of bed and he goes into the kitchen and turns the light on, and Bobby's just standing there hugging the dinosaur. And he goes, "Son, what are you doing?" And the son turns around and he goes, "Oh, I was so worried about my friend Bobby, that you all cleaned him and that you drowned him, and I was so scared." And the dad's like, "No, he's fine, son. See?" And he points to the dinosaur and pats the little toy's head, and then pats the son's head and says, "Let's go to bed." So as dad's walking back to the son's room with the pet dinosaur Bobby, um, he just starts to feel like the mom felt. sense of dread and sickness, like he feels like he's going to throw everything that he ate up. And he says, "Good night, son," and he's holding his stomach, and he says, "Go into bed. I'll be there in a minute to tuck you in." So he runs to the bathroom, and unfortunately, his dinner and everything else comes up, and so he gets really violently ill. And he shakes it off like, maybe, you know what, maybe it was the Thai food. Like, maybe me and my wife ate something that we shouldn't have ate, and it was a mix of things, and it was Thai food. So him and his wife both put it off, right? They didn't think anything of it. Well, next morning, everyone gets up. Bobby's nowhere to be found. The son wakes up screaming bloody murder. And he's asking, "Where's Bobby? Where's Bobby? Bobby, where are you?" And he's calling out to his little pet dinosaur, and he's calling out and screaming out. And the parents freak out, and they run into the room, and they're like, "What's going on?" And he goes, I'm missing my friend. I'm missing my friend. My friend's nowhere to be found." And the dad's like, "Oh my gosh, maybe it fell behind your bed. It's okay. Calm down." So the dad leans over the bed, and he looks, and there's nothing there. And so they start searching the kid's room. They do not find this dinosaur. So boy's heartbroken. They go downstairs for breakfast, and the dinosaur's sitting there back in the kitchen rack. Now remember, dad and son interacted with said dinosaur. Son went and got said dinosaur from the kitchen rack that night, because he was worried about his friend. So the dad's like, "Didn't we get that last night?" Like and of course, he's talking to his, his son who's young at the time, and he's like, "Didn't we get this last night?" He's like, he's trying to have a full conversation. The son's like, "I don't remember. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe I was just really scared." He's like, "Okay, whatever." So son grabs the dinosaur out, sets it beside him out at the dining room table, and they all have breakfast. And all of a sudden, both parents start to feel violently ill again, and this time they can smell sulfur, like a rotten sulfur decaying smell. And they're like, "What is that?" And they look at their son, and the like, "Son, did you have an accident? Like, are you feeling okay?" And the son's just sitting at the table, 1,000-yard stare, and he just kind of goes, "Uh-huh," and that's it. Doesn't say anything else. They're like, "Is he okay? Like, what is that smell? Like, did he not brush his teeth this morning? Like, what is that smell? It stinks." And so the parents ask again, "Son, are you okay?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." Snaps out of it, no problems, no questions asked. And they yet again, they're like, "Man, something's weird going on. Like, maybe he burped and it's just like it's really nasty," but they can't get the smell out of their head. Roll on to the next night, right? Everyone's getting ready for bed. And boy had gone out and played that day. It was raining. He went and jumped in puddles. He got dirty. The dinosaur got dirty again. So now the parents want to clean it again, to keep the kid from getting sick from, germs and stuff. Rightfully so. And they said, "All right, well, we need to wash Bobby again." And the kid's like, he's getting ready to get in the bathtub for his bath night. He's like, "No, no, 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 no. Let Bobby take a bath with me." And so they say, "Okay, we'll let Bobby take a bath with you." So they get the kid in the bath. Dinosaur goes in the bath with the child, doing the normal, end of night routine. And he washes the dinosaur off. Happens. And then the dad's like, "Oh, well, why don't I go take it downstairs real quick and clean up some of the extra gunk? I have a brush down there that can clean him up real good." And the boy looks at the dad, and like the dad's grabbing the dinosaur, and the boy looks at him, and the boy yanks it back towards him. He goes, "No, Bobby stays with me." Very forceful, right, for a child, very unruly. And the dad kind of stands back and he goes, "What the? What?" "Well, fine, whatever." So they get everyone in bed. Son's tucked in bed with his little pet dinosaur, his whatever stuffy, whatever you want to call it. And later on that night, they're sleeping, boy sleeping, but the parents get woken up by what sounds like a thud, like almost like you've dropped like a purse or a bag on the floor. Well, it was the mom's purse. It had fallen off of the armoire that she had kept it on top of, and it had fallen off. And she hears it. She wakes up, and they've got like a little nightlight out in the hall, and their doors open and stuff, so they can like see right across to their son's room. And she kind of blinks her eyes, sees the person on the floor, but then she sees the dinosaur sitting at their doorway, and it's just sitting there looking at them.
What?
And she gets this uneasy feeling of like sickness again, and this time not dread, but fear. Pure adrenaline racing fear. Like something's coming after her. So she shakes her husband awake and she goes, honey, get up, get up, get up, get up. And he jolts out of bed and he goes, what? And she goes, my purse fell, but look. And like he looks past her and he can see the dinosaur in their doorway and he's just looking. He's like, what the fuck? Like we tucked them. What? So they're freaking out now. So he gets up, picks the dinosaur up, looks it over, see if it's warm. Maybe their son's playing a little trick on him. Maybe he's being a little funny. He goes in the room and he goes, hey, son, did you put this in our doorway? Son's fast asleep. The boy is fast asleep. Nothing will wake this boy up. So he's like, okay, whatever. Maybe he dropped it out of his bed and it just rolled. Right? Maybe it just. Now remember, they have no pets in the house. There's no big strong winds right in the house. AC's not that strong. There's no fans. There's nothing to blow said toy around. It's got a little bit of weight to it. So he puts it back in his son's bed and he, tucks him back in, walks back to the bedroom, and he's laying down and all of a sudden he hears like it sounds like the toy hits the ground. He goes, thump. It was just a very soft thud. And he goes, maybe our son knocked it out of bed again. So he gets back up out of bed. The mom's, of course, fixing all her purse because everything fell out of it, putting everything back in it. And he walks back. The dinosaur, of course, is in the floor as if it was dropped out of the bed. He goes, okay, maybe he did drop it out of the bed. Maybe he actually flung his arm and it just kind of flung this way, right? Because, literally, their bedroom and their son's bedroom is right across from each other. So they can see directly across, exactly parallel to each other. And he picks up the toy. And this time he starts to get dizzy. And he starts to see pitch black like around him that's like not a normal night black, but like it's almost tunnel vision pitch black. And he puts it down, he throws the dinosaur in the bed and he kind of stumbles back to the bedroom. And his wife looks at him. She goes, honey, are you okay? And he just kind of looks up and he has these sunken in, like blackened, almost like he hadn't slept in years kind of eyes. Wow. And he lets out this moan that just is like, it's like almost like a death moan, almost like the death rattle, really loud, and then just collapses on the bed. She starts screaming. She can't wake him up. She's shaking him. He's breathing, but she can't wake him up. She doesn't know what's happening. And finally, she calls 911. And as she's on the phone, he comes to. And he just looks at her and he goes, what happened? She goes, you passed out. You look like you were dead. And he goes, what? She goes, you lost all color and you had these black eyes and you wouldn't talk to me. You just passed out. So I don't remember that. And then she goes, did you pick up the dinosaur? And he goes, yeah. She goes, I'm not superstitious, but something's wrong with that toy. Well, the very next day, he gets checked out. The very next day, the mom calls the place where they went to the yard sale. She actually remembers the number because she had seen signs around and she calls this person. She says, hey, we were at your yard sale like a week ago and my son bought this cute little dinosaur toy and strange things have been happening. Do you know anything about it? And the woman on the other end of the phone, she goes, that wasn't supposed to be sold. And the mom goes, what? She goes, it wasn't supposed to be out there. It was put out there. I'm sorry. Does your son still have the toy? And she goes, yes, my son still has the toy. And she goes, I need it back. She goes, what's going on? What did you do? What did you do to my family? Like, he's the only one not getting sick. He's the only one not, my husband got sick, passed out, wouldn't talk to me, nothing. And like, what is going on with this toy? And the woman kind of sighs and she just goes, Well, that toy belonged to my daughter. And the mom goes, "You have a daughter?" The woman goes, "Had a daughter." And the mom asked, "What happened?" And she says, "My daughter unfortunately was killed in a very tragic accident by an ex murderer. And I can't get over that. And the very last thing I have of her or had of her was that toy. And that toy actually was covered in her blood. She was holding it the night of the murder." And the mom on the phone is silent. She drops her jaw and she drops the phone. The husband comes in. He goes, "Honey, what's wrong?" And she's like, "I think the doll's haunted. I think the toy is haunted." And the husband's like, "I don't believe that. There's no way. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Like, you hear it in movies. It's in horror movies. I don't believe in this shit." Right. And so she's like, "No, you don't understand." So he picks up the phone and he goes, "Hello, hello." And the woman on the other end is just crying, uncontrollably weeping. And he goes, "Okay, whatever," and hangs up. And he asks the wife what happened. She tells him the story. And she goes, "I think the little girl's out for revenge. I don't think she's a rested spirit." And he's like, "You're crazy. There's no such thing as that." And as soon as they say that, they hear a thud, like a toy hitting the ground. And bear in mind, the son's upstairs. They're downstairs in the living room, and they just hear this thud against their floor. And they turn around, and the dinosaur's standing right there, looking at them. And then all of a sudden, it like forms a reddish tint. It's not seeping blood, but it's this reddish tint that looks like dried old blood that looks almost like dirt. And they start to freak out. He picks up the dinosaur and throws it out. He opens the front door, throws it out the front door. And about that time, they hear a slam upstairs. And here comes their son, jumped out of bed, flying down the stairs. And he goes, "Where's Bobby? Where's Bobby?" And the parents look at each other and they're like, "What?" "Oh, I think Bobby's being washed." "No, you're lying. You're lying to me. Bobby's not being. Where's Bobby?" And the son goes in this fit of rage, and the parents start freaking out. And he starts slamming everything. He breaks the TV, goes in this fit of rage. He goes, "Where's Bobby? I want Bobby right now. I want Bobby." He's just screaming this over and over again. And all of a sudden, the parents feel sick. Both of them feel sick and dizzy, and they're getting like tunnel vision again. And the dad's the first one that passes out, and the mom doesn't know what's going on. And she's reaching for the phone. She's trying to call 911. And the little boy just looks at her and steps on her hand and smashes the phone. And he goes, "I want Bobby. Where's Bobby?" So she's freaking out. Dad's passed out. The phone is busted by this child who knows where they got this kind of strength. And she just goes, "He's outside. He's outside." So he flings the door open and go gets the dinosaur. And he's just sitting in the front yard, cuddling this pet dinosaur, going, "It's okay, Bobby. It's okay. I'm here. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here." Just saying this over and over and rocking back and forth. And the mom gets up, her hand's all bruised, and she's got a broken finger. And she looks out and she goes, "What is wrong?" And he turns his whole body around, almost like, the exorcist, but it's not just his head, it's his whole body. He turns his whole body around and he just stares at her and he goes, "My Bobby." And she freaked out, runs back inside, slams the door, runs upstairs, gets the other phone, calls 911, tells them what happened. They don't believe her. And then finally she does get a police officer out there. And as the police come up, they're looking at this little boy sitting in the yard still holding this baby dinosaur, or this little pet, whatever, doll dinosaur. And he's rocking back and forth saying, "It's okay, Bobby. It's okay. It's okay. I got you. It's okay." And as the police officer approaches, he goes, "Hey, son, you need to calm down. Your mom's worried." And about that time, he looks up and all the police officer sees is like bloodshot eyes. And the boy is like drooling uncontrollably, almost foaming at the mouth. And he goes, "My Bobby, my Bobby." And the police officer backs up and like everything just erupts in chaos. They don't know what to do. But what ended up happening was an officer tackled the boy, got the dinosaur away, and as soon as the officer touched the child, he became sick. He said he felt like he was going to throw up, and he was getting dizzy and he was getting hot. He just did not feel well. And so, out of all of that commotion, the very, very end, unfortunately, the little boy did unfortunately meet his end. The coroner deemed it a heart attack in a child.
What?
This dinosaur, no one knows where it's at. They don't even know if it's an actual dinosaur because the story's been passed around so much. But the closest we can get to is a little stuffed toy rubber-esque dinosaur.
Hmm. Wow. That's
So
sad.
demonic possession, haunted demonic item.
Right? They
Yeah,
do have a dinosaur toy, which I don't think it's the same toy, but in the Warren Museum. So that's crazy that you mentioned a dinosaur toy. Hmm.
interesting.
Very interesting. Dang. And this happened out west?
Yeah, Washington State,
Spooky.
a little bit.
Yeah. So I've got one more.
Go for it.
Not a toy. This one's not a toy. But so there's an old Southern tradition when someone dies, every mirror in the house is covered. Not because of superstition alone, but because people once believed a soul could become trapped inside the glass. Most families never took that chance. But according to one of America's most famous haunted legends, one family forgot. And that mistake may have left three spirits staring back for nearly 200 years.
Mm.
So, yeah. Deep in St. Francisville, Louisiana, sits the Myrtles Plantation, and it was built in 1796 by General David Bradford. And the plantation has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. So, this isn't a demon inhabiting something, but it's still a haunted item. But visitors report hearing footsteps on empty staircases, children laughing in empty rooms, shadow figures moving through the halls, but no object has inspired more fear in that house than an antique mirror hanging on the wall. So, according to the legend, the tragedy began in the early 1820s, and the plantation was home to Clark Woodruff, his wife Sarah, and their children. One story claims an enslaved woman named Chloe secretly listened to private conversations by pressing her ear against keyholes. Well, when she was caught, the punishment was brutal because things were just crazy back then. And part of her ear was reportedly cut off. From then on, she wore a green head wrap to hide the injury. Wanting to regain favor or perhaps seeking revenge, the legend says Chloe baked a birthday cake using poisonous oleander leaves. The poison was meant to make the family ill, but instead, Sarah Woodruff and two of her children had died. But before anyone could accuse her, the story says the enslaved workers hanged Chloe and threw her body in the Mississippi River.
Hmm.
Southern mourning traditions called for every mirror in the home to be covered after a death, and that belief was simple. An uncovered mirror could trap the souls of the dead. According to the legend, one mirror inside the Myrtles plantation was forgotten, and Sarah, along with her two children, never left. Visitors say strange handprints appear on the glass, not fingerprints, tiny handprints, as though children had pressed their palms against the inside of the mirror. Caretakers have cleaned it countless times, yet the marks are said to return. Some guests claim they've seen faces appear beside their own reflections, and others report seeing a woman standing behind them, only to turn around and find the room completely empty. Some refuse to look into the mirror at all. And the mirror has been photographed thousands of times, and many people believe they've captured unexplained faces or figures inside the glass. Skeptics argue that the marks are simply age spots caused by deterioration of the antique mirror's silver backing. Others believe it's the power of suggestion. But not everyone agrees. So here's where history becomes just as fascinating as the legend.
Hmm?
Researchers have found no historical records proving that Chloe ever lived on the plantation. And they do believe that Sarah did die from, and her two children, that is, died from yellow fever, not from poison. So, I mean, it could have been falsely created, but still, the mirror remains. The mirror is still there. Visitors stop in front of it. Some swear they feel watched. Some refuse to photograph it. Others quietly put their hands against the glass just to see if something presses back. So, is it fake? Is it not? Who knows? One day, maybe I'll be reporting from there. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Very
mirrors are
interesting.
cool.
You know what? I am of the weird superstition, right? I do not like mirrors in a bedroom because I know the power they can hold and the power that can be invoked to them. So I cover any mirror that is on a dresser completely.
Really?
I I cannot. I cannot from my own past experiences. I have seen things in mirrors that I know are of the other side, that are not of this plane, and I have felt and seen things enough that I do not trust myself, even with sage and crystals and good luck charms and good luck protection spells. I do not trust a mirror in the bedroom. I never will.
I keep my scrying mirror right in my bedroom.
See, that's different. That's different. That's a scrying mirror. I'm talking about like a regular dresser mirror, right? Like, it's on the dresser or whatever. And it's like, those dressers that have the mirrors. No, I cover that up. I 100% cover that up. I will not have a mirror in the bedroom.
What house was it? Um, there was a house that is the Velisca X murder house.
I
Yes,
think
it
so.
is. Where they keep the mirrors covered. Like, I can't remember the story, but if the man, the murderer did it, or if they do it. You're not the only one who doesn't like mirrors, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I am not.
I mean, they do say they're portals, you know.
They are. They are. That's yeah. You know. And if I think on it too much, I invoke power in them that I shouldn't because it's just a mirror. But at the same time, I'm like, it's a mirror. Run.
Ah, yes. Okay, so I just looked it up. The killer covered the mirrors in that
Ah.
house. Yes, the killer went through and in 1912, I believe it was, and before he murdered the family, he covered all of the mirrors. So,
Oh.
interesting. Very interesting.
All right. Well,
I have a bestie who is terrified of porcelain dolls to this day. To this day, because
yeah,
she has seen some weird stuff happen.
that is fair. That is very fair.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
on that note, thank you all again for listening to As the Skeleton Key Turns. I do hope you have enjoyed this episode. By the way, the credit for the story that you just heard from me is credit from R No Sleep. The creator, of course, has since deleted their profile, so I do not have creator, you know, backing. It was just an archived R No Sleep story. So,
Mm.
is it a story or is it more than just that? because there is a lot that surrounds haunted objects. And for a fun fact, if any of you know about Dybbuk boxes, that might be a teaser for the next episode. You never know. I'm just saying. Could be a Dybbuk box, could be a demon. Who knows? But if any of you know about them and have experienced them or know people who have experienced them personally, firsthand accounts, tell us. Tell us. But we also do have some special guests coming on in the next few episodes. We are currently working with them, so that should be coming up. Of course, please don't forget to like, follow, comment, and subscribe on all of our social medias that you can. Please also follow us. Use our affiliate links as well if you need some ghost hunting equipment, so that way you can help support us, which helps support the show, which helps us feed our families. Because please, may we have some more? But yeah, so also please don't forget to follow Christina's page as well for her wonderful, wonderful witchcraft business or witchy business or it's cool. It's really cool, actually. If y'all haven't been to the site, if you haven't checked out, if you haven't shopped there, please absolutely do shop there. Absolutely, some great, amazing products. Her and her best friend have made some amazing, amazing things. I think they're going to do great. So that's another plug that I do want to kind of throw in there. But yes, thank you again for choosing to listen to As the Skeleton Key Turns. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Remember, everything that is behind a closed door sometimes needs to remain closed. Bye-bye.